Welcome to Jen Cares Live Talks powered by Swag Her Magazine and Chosen Counselors, the show that brings the community to you Mondays at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Here we engage in tough talks and meaningful conversations, featuring guests that help us stay in the know. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to like and follow our page. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to never miss a show. Now, here's your host, Jen Cares.
Well, good evening and welcome to Jen Cares Live Talks, where tough talks lead to meaningful conversations. We are powered by Swag Her Magazine and Chosen Counselors. I am your host, Jennifer Harris, also known as Jen Cares, and I am so excited to have you with us on tonight. I am also the founder of Chosen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. So here at Jen Cares, we specialize in bringing the community to you. As shared, we love those tough talks and meaningful conversations. So we are so glad to have another episode tonight. We want to say thank you to our sponsor, Swag Her Magazine. Be sure to check them out. They'll be in the comments, dropping some links and sharing some tidbits. And also support Chosen Counselors. Head on over to our website to learn more. So tonight, we're going to get right into the conversation because I find out that I'll be needing those minutes on the back end. So we're going to get those minutes right to the conversation that we got going on for tonight. So help me welcome the amazing Coach Jenay as we talk about leading with grace, serving with purpose as it relates to leadership. Dun, 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 dun. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
How are you doing on today?
I'm doing well. It's really good to be back. It's been a minute, and I'm excited with you. So yes, on this rainy day.
On this rainy day. So as always, we always start with a quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, find out who you are and do it on purpose. Find out who you are and do it on purpose. Now, actually, I guess we're doing a 2-for-1 because that was an original quote that I had, but we're going to go with that one. Then we're going to do the other one I had. But what's your thoughts on that one? Find out who you are and do it.
Oh, I think it sounds, no, it doesn't sound simple. It's very loaded. Find out who us are on a journey, finding out who we are. And sometimes even when we find out who we are, then the doing it part can be hard. I noticed this in, well, it's kind of, all right, Lord, I hear you calling me here, but am I going to do it? Or am I going to talk about how much I know the Lord is calling me here and neglect to take steps I need to take to be, you know?
Yeah. And finding out, sometimes we think we know what it is, and then we find out, oh, maybe that's not what it is. Or we have been doing something for so long and then find out that's not what I want to do anymore, you know?
Yeah.
It can be a big struggle.
Yeah, and it's okay. I think even when I work with young people, I tell them, I know people say, like, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? Most of us adults don't know what we want to do for the rest of our lives. But what do you think the next step is? And just take that step. It's okay. Don't worry about everything. You want to think about the future, but don't be burdened by it.
Yes. Now, friends, I'm sure we have a twofer because I found this other quote after I found that one that I thought that was amazing. So let me put that one up too. Let's talk about this one by John Maxwell. Leadership is influence. Leadership is influence. What are your thoughts on that?
It's so true. It's so true. I think there always has been a conversation about influencers, right? Social media influencers. And you think about that quote, a lot of people will say, oh, I'm just an influencer. I never signed up for nobody. I never signed up to be a leader. I never said that I was the best person to follow. But by default, because you have influence over somebody, it does make you a leader, whether it or not. And I think it's a responsibility. Y'all don't handle it right all the time. But if you are in, it's important to take note of because it's with you whether you want
it or not. And it's so powerful. Like, I remember growing up and they were saying, like, you know, people are looking up to you. And I'm like, I didn't ask them to look up to me, you know, because I'm not perfect. I'm going to mess up. I'm going to make mistakes, right? And I didn't want to lead someone astray for them to be looking up. It's like, now I got to be on my P's and Q's. And I don't know what's going to be on my P's P's and Q's, right?
Right.
But it does have such a great influence where you can encourage somebody to do something good, you encourage somebody to do something not so good, or encourage them to find their own way and not necessarily like follow your direct footsteps. But there is an
Mm-hmm.
influence that you have, and sometimes people take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking advantage. It's it's an interesting thing. I think about being a leader, and if you want to show up well, if you
Mhm.
want, right, because you can be a leader and take advantage of others, but
Yeah.
as you can be taken advantage of.
Hmm.
I think it comes with the territory. I
Yes.
think no way you're going to be a leader and not have and you always have to sometimes you got to take it in the chin, and you have to also build your character so that when those moments don't happen, you
Hmm.
don't know as well. Now some people are all about it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm bad. If you somewhere I'm not supposed to be, I don't want to go there. So I need to Lord is building that character in me so that when people come along and they want to take advantage of me, that I have wisdom for how to handle it. Though it sucks. Nobody likes it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I like that flip because though um leaders can take advantage of people. Well, it's very right. People can also take advantage of those leaders or like that pity party.
Yeah.
Well, you're supposed to be or you're supposed to have and all these different things. And you feel like, you know what, just for the birds, find somebody else to do it, right? So it does go both sides. So you have to have discernment on whatever side you find yourself on to hope and pray that you are doing the greatest that you can do when it relates to leadership and being a follower or under the guidance of that leader.
And it's funny when you think about being a leader. I think being a leader means that you're a good follower. And then
Mm-hmm.
grew up people saying like, "Don't be a follower, don't be a follower," and I understood what people were saying, right? Because you can follow in a wrong way. You can follow something that's just not life giving. But if you have a leader that's showing up and they're trying to move something forward, it's a good thing that you want to be there to support. That is,
Mm-hmm.
some people don't want to do that, but then they want to just step into leadership. But it's important to be able to support someone else and what the Lord is telling them to do and
Mm-hmm.
guiding them. Because again, when it's time for you to lead, do you want somebody who's never supportive? Just because something comes up or people might disagree with what you're doing, that's okay. That's not really a issue. It's just that sometimes we show up and we have no intention in being helpful or, moving the goal forward.
Mm-hmm. It also brings the question or thought to mind, what kind of leader do you want to be, right? Uh, because that part of being a leader and being a good follower is not true for everybody, right? There's some people feel like, no, you're supposed to follow me and they have no clue what they're doing, or they're just doing whatever it is that they want to do and you're
Yeah.
supposed to follow them. They're like, oh, you can't never tell me no. If it's contrary to what it is that I want for my life, we might have to have a conversation about it. But what kind of leader do you want to be goes along with it. So, friends, tonight's topic is talking about leading with grace, serving with purpose, as we go into women in leadership, specifically women in leadership and ministry, right, and what that looks like.
Mhm.
So, my first question, and I'll bounce back a little bit because sometimes leadership finds those that don't necessarily want to be leading. But the first question is like, what first inspired you? And I'm using this term loosely, pursue, because normally with leadership, nobody's trying to be a leader. It's just a gift that you have, and you walk into it, right? So again, pursue is loosely. But what first inspired you to pursue leadership in ministry, and who has encouraged you along the way?
This is a good question. I think, first off, when I think about just the idea of leadership growing up, it wasn't something that I was drawn to.
Mhm.
It wasn't something that I felt like people saw in me, though they did. When I reflect back, people did see it, and they would tell me as I got older. I think for myself, my first memories of being a leader was being a big sister, right? And I took it very seriously, conscious about everything else. But I was a big sister, and that was my job, and that's what I had to do.
Mhm.
Um, when I started to recognize that I did have qualities, um, I kind of started from it because I didn't think I was good enough for it. And I thought I had a wrong evaluation and understanding of what leadership was. And then I was like, I'm not confident. How can I be a leader and not confident? And then I thought confidence meant being mean. But I remember a point in this is when I got to my current church home and we were having a prayer night. And this is a time where I was like, Lord, listen, I know there are things you calling me to that I haven't said yes to. I know there's something more you want to do, but I don't know how you want to do it. But I know I just need to have my hands open so that you can maneuver things in my life. And I prayed that prayer. And I remember going up to my pastor, my lead pastor, and I was like, I think the Lord is calling me to leadership. And I was very like, ugh, like it felt like icky to say it, like, ugh, you think you want to be a leader? Like, and he didn't like laugh at me. He didn't say like, nah, I don't think so. But he said, okay, okay. And I think he saw like the honesty, the vulnerability, but also the conviction. And then he gave me some books to read, in particular about handling people, because as a leader, like you were saying earlier, people don't, you think you should say, oh, follow me, but you don't know how to care for people. You don't know how to love on people. And that was the moment where I said yes to leadership and I allowed the Lord to lead me into it. Yeah, that was when that happened. You are on mute, Jen.
My bad. Here we go. This is interesting because you said you felt like, you were called to leadership and you went to, share that and things of sort. And it's a good portion of people that's going to say, I'm called to leadership and things sort. It's a good portion of those people that do that aren't called to, right?
Mhm.
But then there's the people that aren't going and like, it's like, you're playing dodgeball. I'm trying to dodge that real quick, right? To not get it. And I'll never forget when I got a letter in the mail. I was like, did you mean Jennifer Harris? It's other Jennifers that go to my church. They could have got it mixed up and things that sort. Because sometimes you're just doing what it is that you do, and people acknowledge it and see, like, hey, they have leadership capabilities. Let's pull them in. Or when you're saying it, you're trying to find out, like, let me go and, learn more and cultivate, this gift that I feel that I have. And I'm grateful for you that they were supportive, to
Yeah.
you to help you, water that gift, water that seed so
Mm.
that the seed and plant could grow.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there is always fear in that. And then there are people who might be presumptuous about it or think they're called to leadership and they're not.
Mm-hmm,
Definitely as in ministry, you want to bring it to the Lord first.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And like you said, leadership is something that you're called to, right? It's not something you qualify. So,
mm-hmm,
or what are the things you're putting before me? What are the opportunities that you are thinking of me for? Where
mm-hmm.
do I and where are you calling me to show up in? Like those are some good indicators of the Lord calling you to leadership. And leadership doesn't have to be on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
We don't all need to be on the stage. I don't
Mm-hmm.
all, but I need to submit to the leadership that the Lord is calling me in any given season.
It's funny. I recently got an assignment, and how the assignment was. Well, I was already on a group or whatever like that, but they would have like a camera up or whatever that, and I would always be out of shot. And they were like, Jennifer, we need you to move. And I was like, it's not about that. These people didn't come to see me. We're here for Jesus. Like, I ain't got to be in the camera. I was adamant about this, Jenay. And I think they was over me after a while. The camera ministry was like, all right, now I'm gonna be span. It's like this big gap before you finally get the Jennifer that's on the end close to the wall, closer to the door to get off the stage and things, right? But then recently I got an assignment where I'm now front dead in the center.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ask for that, and that's the part of like, just showing up and know what you're supposed to be doing, not there to like please the people and things of that sort, being
Yeah.
submitted and being humble. Because a lot of times in me and that leadership, you got to die to the stuff you want to do. Though I want to act the fool because I know people are looking at me, I know people are following me, I know people are depending on me. I can't do those things. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like if it offends your brother, cut it off. If it's offending your brother or they're not strong in those areas, those aren't things you should do. But it's just funny of like the spotlight and how the spotlight will come to you because your gift does really make room for you.
It definitely does. It makes room for you. Even thinking about, they would say like leaders or pastors deserve a double portion, right? Double
Mm-hmm,
honor. And I remember my pastor saying like it's not so they can just have double honor and walk around and say double honor. It's because they're giving out double. they
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
a higher standard. Like we're held to a higher standard and
Mhm.
don't have the luxury, like our liberties. That's a different situation now, right? Like I have, because I'm thinking about those who might be looking at, I'm
Mhm.
than the things that I want to do, right? I have to approach things differently, and that's
Definitely.
care for people, because the care
Yeah.
from people from kind of dying to yourself a little bit or a
Yeah.
lot of it.
Yeah. 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 For sure. A
Mm.
lot of it. I was like, I went to rehearsal or meeting the other day, and I was like, I tell you, boy, when you want God's will for your life, whew, because I know what Jennifer wants. And that don't
Right.
always align, right? And though you can get his permissive will where he allows it to happen, I don't got Jesus' perfect will. And it stinks sometimes. Um, but it smells better when I really get what it is that he wants for me, because he sees what I don't see down the end of the road, right? And I'm thinking that it's great right
Mhm.
now. And then you see people that are having challenges or different things because they tried it their way. I ain't trying to do that no more. And that's the part two of leadership of, like, God, you told me to do this. You lead my hands. You got my mouth. You got my
Yes.
feet. So I don't get myself hemmed up in some stuff that I shouldn't be in. Ah,
Ooh, that's good. It's like a good, when you surrender to how the Lord wants to build you up in leadership, it's like a healthy, good, balanced meal.
yeah.
Go get chicken nuggets real quick and chicken strips, but
Mm-hmm.
pay me later for the things that I don't even know that's coming up. But
Yeah.
like you said, it's like it's always better. It's always
Mhm.
better, feel more stable as well.
Yes, yes. This is so good already. So another question, or another part of the question was, who has encouraged you along the way? Who has been some female leaders that you looked up to and said, this might be, I might be able to do this.
I might, I would say definitely my aunts. I think about those who were closest to me, like nurturing me as I grew up.
Hmm.
My aunt, those who are blood and chosen aunts, really like seeing them and like, yeah, I think the Lord is calling you to something more. I even think about my youth leaders. When I was
Hmm.
in high school and middle school, seeing something in, right. Shout out to Justin. No, he's a man, but he was somebody who directly said to me, like, I think the Lord is calling you to like leadership and youth ministry, something like that. And I was like, first I was like, wow, like you see that and you're telling me, and he would
Hmm.
say that to you so that you can learn and grow. But it was those who really saw something in me, said it to me, though I wasn't ready to like,
Hmm.
and it was still those seeds being planted, and that's so important. Like
Yeah.
having them planted, no matter
Hmm.
what, seeds are important. Like
Yeah.
things out there, you think they do, but they really don't. They're always seeds growing and breeding somewhere.
Yes, yes. And I like that because though the seed gets planted, some weeds come, right? And every so often somebody else to come along to help you pull up the weeds, help you pull out the debris to make sure you're still growing as you should, help to water, help to make sure you're where you need to be if you need to move and things of that sort. That's really good. I reflect on this of like this too of like who encouraged me the long way. The first will probably be my mom, my late mom. She was a musician, so she was playing in church. So just her showing up, how people responded, didn't respond. I learned a lot about church folk with her being a pianist. My late pastor in Maryland, Pastor Annette P. Wilson. I mean, she was amazing. Her heart that she had for the people, her heart that she had for the community. She would have like Fridays where we had soul food dinners and we're like getting the food together to cook. And then she's taking in the homeless in the upstairs part of the church so they had somewhere to sleep at. Just like her love. She'd be on the altar for hours praying for her. She had her list of everybody's name calling us out. And that's that leadership looking out for her people that she's under. Like, God, help me.
Yeah.
These are the people you've entrusted me to. This is the area that you entrusted me to. How can I continue to help and bless them? And I just always give tribute to her. And then at my current church, I had some ladies that I check in with and things of that sort. I love them to pieces. Antoinette, Jeanette, and Kirby, all elders, all respect to them. But they allow me to be me because I'm a piece of work. But also know that I love God and I don't play games about Him. And it's important for you to have that balance. And I have some close friends too that are leaders in their respectable ways or whatever like that. They might not feel like they are, but they are, and they are doing some great things and encouraging you to keep on going in the line that you have. I see sharing the comments, Belinda. You two are leaders that I know, and I'm appreciative because you also have to have that circle, because sometimes it does become a lot. Sometimes it is overbearing. Sometimes it is, am I really supposed to be doing this? Right? And you need those people, that network of support, to help you stay on track. So that's pretty cool.
Yes,
Ah,
for sure.
so another question is, we're gonna get to nitty. What challenges do you feel like you faced as a woman in ministry, and how do you navigate them?
Challenges. I think going back to loving people.
Mhm.
Well, I think sometimes we get away from our relationship with the Lord and how important that is, because
Mhm.
everything flows through it. I think about John 21, when the Lord says, Jesus says to Peter, like, do you love me? He asked him 3 times. Like, "Hey,
Mhm.
what kind of love do you have for me?
Yeah, yeah,
Like a slice of pizza? Do you love me like a friend, or do you love me that you would give up everything for me?"
yeah,
And I'm like, okay, if I love the Lord, I need to feed the sheep that He's given in that season. I need to lean into that. And that can be challenging, because sometimes you want to be like, do I really need to do this? Do I really have to be here? Like, I don't have to do this. You know what I mean? Like, and everybody hates Chris, the mom. She was like, my husband got 2 jobs. Like, I don't have to be at this little job. And sometimes we like, in
yeah,
leaders, we might be like, all right, well, I don't really have to do this. Somebody else can
yeah.
do it, or
Mhm.
somebody else is ready to take it.
Yeah,
But if the Lord has called you there, you need to be there. And it gets hard. Things shift. There is a season and a time where the Lord will shift you out of certain places, or maybe
uh,
out of maybe official title of leadership.
mhm.
But if I love the Lord, then I got to do what He called me to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That disconnect is real, because once you graduate school, you have the degree, you have the certificate, but things are ever changing. So you still got to stay connected to learn the different things and how things are changing, so that you stay in the know. But you also got to know, what classes to take, what feet you should be following, what feet you should be at to like get the seeds and get the nuggets and things. Another part, I feel like sometimes my challenge is knowing when to speak and knowing when not to. But sometimes I'd be like,
Hmm.
yep, they'll figure it out. But then sometimes you should speak up, right?
Yeah.
But then also depending on the people that are around you, like, here she go again, and things of that sort. And it's like, you're not feeling yourself to be more high-minded. You're just being who you are, to the
Yeah.
best of your ability, trying to show up to help somebody. The song used to say, if I help somebody, then my living won't be in vain.
Mm.
One of the events I went to this weekend, I was sitting talking with someone, and God had laid on my heart some words to share with her. And it was like, Jennifer, come on. I was honored because one, he wanted to share a little bit about their life, for me to share with them. And then obedience was for me to actually do it. And in my obedience, as talking to her, when I was done, she said, this is confirmation. I needed this, right? And that's that part of being a leader and showing up, is in those moments when we are doubting ourselves, trusting the God that has given us the gift, that has given us the guidance, that has given us the words, that has, indwelled in us to help somebody else. It's so rewarding and so refreshing to know, like, had I not done that, obviously somebody else would have came along. But how much longer would she have been going through, like, oh, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen, when God was giving something? So that's a part of leadership too. Like, when God is telling you to do something, to say something, to go somewhere, going on and doing it. On Friday night, we were going on a trip, and the friend was supposed to be renting a car, but something happened where it's like, we just gonna take my car. But when she went back in, she saw the family member that she hadn't seen in years, and she said, I believe that God took us all the way around just to come here so that I could run into him. And those pieces of leadership too. If you don't have necessary people under you, you've been able to lead your own life and follow what God has telling you to do, though it seems crazy to go out of the way, well, in a way, because you thought you were going to get something for it, not to work out, but then God would be like, oh, damn, hey, good to see you. And to reconnecting things, all
Yeah.
the parts of leadership, and just being obedient to the process, not getting frustrated because it didn't work out how you thought it was, but taking the blessing of what it did bring.
Yeah.
Other things. Uh,
Yeah.
so there's some challenges. Challenges are going to happen because sometimes people also, sometimes people don't know how to be themselves. There's some
Yeah.
people that admire and look up to some people, and then they try to mimic them And when you try to mimic them and you're not being true to who you are, you can get yourself in a jam, because you got to
Yeah.
keep on doing like what it's almost like, what would this person do? No, we want to do what would Jesus do. That was the acronym. What would Jesus do? Not what Samantha do, not what Jessica would do, not what Sarah would do. I'm picking names. I hope y'all in the comments. If you are, I apologize. I'm not talking about you. But sometimes we'll get caught up in that where we have to do exactly what they're doing. The hope is that when we see somebody, we may take some pieces of it, but we still want to be true to ourselves. How's that meant for you of trying to find your voice and being a leader?
That's so good, especially growing up feeling like I didn't have a voice or
Mm,
anything I had to say, nobody. I remember the lie that I used to believe was that
mm,
nobody cares about what you have to say.
mm,
Nobody's listening. Nobody acknowledges you. Like
mm.
you hear if you're saying anything, no, kind of like pity. Um,
Right.
and just allowing the Lord to be the only voice in my head, because sometimes my own voice will start to overtake. And I think it's so good because as you are discipling and leading others, like there are going to be some things that you do that people will copy or people will, take note of. Even with my leaders, I'm like, okay, I know this person does this well. So I'm
Mhm,
because the Lord was walking with his disciples and he was like, watch me, right? And
yeah,
then he was, okay, I want you to do it alongside me. And then he's like, okay, I'm gonna go send y'all. And knowing how to do something but still be you is
mm,
important. Also, if you're leading, making sure that you don't make somebody feel bad because they're not like a carbon copy of you,
mm,
right?
mhm,
Usually, like it's mostly chill, laid back. I won't say much at first,
mhm,
but then there's somebody else who's ready to say something at the drop of the dime. You know,
mhm,
or can use, but the common thing is that surrender to the Lord. So
yeah,
how wants to use whatever I am strong in,
mhm,
just like I want to be able to forgive. Like how
yeah,
can I like Jesus, but like how does Janae do this, right? I want
yeah,
to loving towards people. So how can Janae be loving? Like
yeah,
I
yeah,
and like how do I do that but do it in my fashion? Like Lord, show me how to do that. And that's definitely a character and a confidence builder because it calls for because you're going to flounder if you and it's going to come out and it's not going to be in a row. It's going to it's going to smell like something that it's not going to bear fruit.
mm, mm. That's good. That's good. It is a process. Because there's always going to be somebody that's going to doubt. There's always going to be somebody that's going to say some things, but because they weren't as confident to go forward, and they see you confident, like, well, who she thinks she is, right? Because us women, we could be vicious. There
Yeah.
are many conferences I've gone to where with other ladies and they looking you up and down. I'm like, hey sis, how you doing? Love to you. I don't know, you do what you do, I do what I do. We're in different lanes, but
Yeah.
the people that need to hear us will hear us if we just be true to ourselves. But if we're doing that little big one thing, that don't work out too well. So, ladies, next time y'all go to a conference, love on every sister you see, okay? Whether you like them, don't like them, all those things in between, let Jesus handle the difference, okay?
Yeah.
um, but they could be something else. I went to an event. Yep, we here. I went to an event and at the table they were going to put a young lady there, and somebody at the table was like, she can't sit here. Where it was like some years ago beef that caused her not to want to be with her and things of the sort. These are grown women, right? And that's the other part too. We gotta let some stuff go. We grow, we mature, we change. You're not the same person then, neither is that person the same person. Let's try to love on one another. Sit next to the people and say, hey, how you
Yes.
doing? God bless, have a good day, and you go on with your life. I do it many times, many times.
Hmm.
But the hope is that that the word you've been using often is love. Show that love. Show that love. Give that love because you want that
Have to.
to come right back to you.
You have to. You have to. Like, this is not a competition.
Mhm,
There's for everybody. And I know everybody says it. There's space at the table for everybody. We all can eat.
mhm,
And honestly, alongside that, the Lord wants us to be in community and we make
mhm,
each other. And I also think that it is a confidence thing when we
mhm.
want to. It's like I have to show you up to show that I am something. I have
Yeah.
to show up to show so people can look at me and see me.
Mhm,
And there's a little bit of that in all of us that might pop up, rise up now and then.
mhm,
We just
mhm, mhm,
and there's only so many hours in a day. Like I'm a coach. I coach women in ministry leadership through insecurities so they can lead with
mhm,
confidence. And there's only so many people I can coach. So if I
mhm,
meet another coach in women's ministry, it's
mhm.
better. than we are separate, right? That we can
Yes.
grow together, we can develop others together, and remembering what the goal is, right? One,
Mhm.
if I love the Lord, then I better act right with everybody else, right? I
Mhm.
better
Mhm.
else and just being able to develop others, because if we tear each other down, nobody's going anywhere because we just
Right. 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 Now, I will say, to your point, you said there's space for everybody at the table. It's not. Everybody ain't supposed to be at the table. And that's the problem. Everybody wants to be at the table. Sometimes you're supposed to be outside. Sometimes you're supposed to be in the corner.
this
Sometimes you're
is
supposed to
true.
be in the mall. You got to be in the different places. Everybody can't sit at the table.
I hear you. I hear you. Because sometimes it's not your season. And that's another thing. Sometimes it's not your season, or maybe
Yes.
a thing at all. That's
Uh-huh.
true.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's also good, because sometimes you feel some type of way when you're in obscurity.
Mhm.
Nobody, the Lord's told you something. Like when I had that conversation with my pastor, I, I would never have imagined that I would have been leading teen ministry or
Yeah.
co. I'm like, who am I to do these things? I would have
Yeah.
never that, but I had to be content. I was teaching 5 to 7, okay, on Sundays month, and I was in there, and I remember the Lord saying, "Take this serious, because you want
Mhm.
to do other things, but you better take this serious because it's just as."
Mhm.
And that was the
Mhm.
assignment. And I remember going through the lesson plans and be like, "Okay, let me make this fun. Let me love on them. Let me make them feel
Yeah.
special, so that the Lord knows, because my accountability is to the."
Yeah.
So if I'm still in obscurity, and if it's not my time to be at the table, let me big up who's at the table. Let me support them. That is the most important thing.
And that's so big. Where you don't even realize as a child growing up in ministry how you were being prepared for assignments you would have here years later.
Mm,
As a teenager, things that story at the church I went to. I taught Sunday school, not Sunday school. I guess it was Sunday school, but it was children's church. And I'll tell you, them little kids, sometimes they be listening, sometimes they wouldn't be listening. I'm like, I could have been in the main sanctuary. Y'all better get, and not, things of this sort. But also being able to just have the patience with them. They're kids, they're rambunctious, they want to, do all these different things. But once you was able to lock in with them and they were like, okay, I get it, like, all right, I'll stay here with y'all a little bit longer. And then
right.
like you get older, you get to like do some lessons with other people, prep you and things. It's funny, even when I was away this weekend, I was telling them, about this new assignment that I got in my church and things. They was like, look at that, how was preparation? Because being at the church in Maryland, that was the first time I was like officially on a praise team. So now to be leading a praise team, it was like, that was prep, not even realizing it, right? And those were the best years of my life. As I was riding down to Maryland, I was like, God, I feel like Maryland helped grow me up. My mom had
Mm,
passed, and then I ended up staying in Maryland a little longer until I was ready to come back to Philly. And in that season, I was groomed, I was matured to be able to walk into a leadership place. Again, seeing my late pastor, Pastor Wilson, and how she, carried herself, how she loved on the people, how she would have her moments, but not moments of like, not moments, because I can't even say that she fussed much. She really just had the love. But even in those moments, I want to say it's like how she still would let the love outshine whatever was going on. She'd speak up for what needed to be spoken on, but her love just outshined it all. Like, because some of these people you feel like don't deserve it. But
you know.
then I don't always deserve it either, right? And just being able
Mhm.
to see her do that, how again, as a child growing up, doing different things in church, outside of church, at jobs, being a leader and things of that sort, helping you to like again lead people, be patient with people, love on people, have a listening ear for people, all those
Yes.
things, all those
Mm.
things.
Yeah, I'm curious about this position you got. I'm not going to, I don't know if you can share or not,
Oh,
but
I lead the worship. I lead the worship team. And again, I
okay.
was on the end. You could never see me. And now I got to be dead in the middle because I got
Ah,
to lead. It's something else. It's something
amen.
else.
Amen. That's your table. I just feel that. I just, so that's the table you're supposed to be at.
And even in being a leader, it's a humbling experience because you deal with so many different personalities. You gotta deal with your own personality when you feel like showing up, when you don't feel like showing up, when they got stuff going on, because life is still happening and all these things, right? And even that, I'm like, I'm telling myself, here we go. Okay, because when I first got it, I was like, I didn't ask for this. when they was trying to like get me like going back and forth with me, I'm like, I didn't ask for this, y'all. I was told to do these things that sort. But recently when I was talking to God, he was like, when you ask for prayer, you always say, my will be done. So you did ask for this. This is my will for you right now. And I was like, all right, I guess I did ask for it, but God continued to give me the grace for it and things of that sort. And that's the part that you just humble yourself to be able to do what God, that God get the glory out of it. Because it ain't about me. And I tell them all the time, it's not about us. We want to have fun in Jesus, giving God the praise, giving God the honor, and then let it rock from there. But there was some growing pains in the front because though I was prepared for it, I knew it was coming. I still was like, me? Huh? How long this gonna be, Jesus? Now, by the time, God, how long I'm supposed to be doing this assignment? I was like, I'm just gonna finish my bid. You know how the kids say, the jail time things that are. But all in all, that God's will be done, and that's the part of leadership too. That whatever piece or whatever assignment you are given, that God's will is done, and you are pleasing Him. And I promise He'll make your heart smile because God continues to move like only He can, and it's all about Him every week, every week, every week.
Yes, and surrendering to God's will gives you confidence.
Yes.
That's what gives you confidence. I remember for a long time trying to figure out, like, okay, how do you become confident? Is saying anything to say, being humble. It's not. And I also used to think that was being confident. And I mean, immature, obviously, young Jenay being like, all right, I don't want to be like this person, but I also am. But really surrendering to the Lord and being what you have to say and what you're calling is the most important thing.
Yeah.
That you and be like, well, what you doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cute. All the things, all the stuff. And it's kind of like, okay, Lord, because your will be done, I can allow these things to roll off my back. And I still have to love these people. I still need to show up, and not even in a fake way, not even in a phony way, but in a way that the Lord shows up for us.
Yeah.
It's like that's the capacity that the Lord would give you when you surrender. You'll be done without it.
Whew. When you surrender.
Yes.
I'm gonna leave that one there because that it's a cuss word, but it's not a cuss word. They be like, don't be cussing. Y'all always cussing, talking about surrender. I'm beeping. It's a reward in doing it. Another question for you: how do you feel you balance ministry responsibilities with life, with everything outside of ministry responsibilities? Even though I think sometimes they blend more often than not, huh?
Yeah. Life, ministry responsibilities with life. I think one thing I was reflecting on was how I think I find myself being a leader in multiple places, and also how I show up in ministry as a leader, and then how I show up at work, for example, as a leader. And no, Lord, like I don't become not Jenay Christian who surrendered to the Lord when I'm at work, right? At work, right? So my coworkers that I've worked with, I really adore them and love them. But working in a space where I'm like, man, I really don't like. I just don't want to be. I'm still held to the same, and I need to make sure that I am still working because my testimony and my witness is testimony and my witness 24. And I know I've had to talk to a therapist, restructure the things that I'm doing. The most important, getting burnt out. But what's the thing that the to right now? Ministry, sociable. All right, so you need to make sure that everything fits that. Right. I have to work. And if ministry is one of the things the Lord will allow work to line up. So just allowing priorities to shift when needed. Some seasons things are more of a priority. Sometimes for certain women, family at home with kids, and I got to make sure my kids are good. So I'm not able to serve much, but it doesn't mean you're a leader at home, right? Group, right? You might be a leader at work in the background in title, but look to you. Just knowing what's the most important thing in the season, and it changes. So you got to make sure. Prayer, asking the Lord, okay, Lord, what's next? Is the season still going on?
Yes, that's so good. Seasons do change. It's funny, when I was applying to become a supervisor, I used my church experience to show that I had experience in being a supervisor over things, right? I've been over our publishing group at my church. I've been over the announcement ministry at the church, leading people.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, leading females, oh, we're a piece of work sometimes. It's been rewarding. I learned a lot. It took me 5 minutes to read that email 5 more times just to make sure nobody's feelings get hurt, because like we just got to tighten up some areas, right? But from that, it helped me to then cultivate the teams that I had with Cool, to now the teams that I have in my current job, of guiding and leading and supporting them in the different areas, understanding personal life mixed with work life, and how we got to find a blend. Because when we're on the clock, we got to get their work done, right? That's why I got the PTO. You ain't got to tell me why you're taking off. Take off, get yourself together, come on back refreshed, right? But it was interesting of how that helped me to prepare for the other. So like it balances out, because though in the ministry or church, it might be like volunteer work, it helped me to get paid work from doing those things. So then it balances out of, like you said, the schedules. More than likely your schedule might be like a Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends you got time for ministry and things of that sort. But also, like you said, showing up on your job, still representing, God, being Christ-like. Because they found out, oh, you do all those things at church, but you was something at work. We don't want that, because then we're two different people, Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde, whichever way it go, and being careful of how that balance works out. Make sure that we're doing self-care on both sides. Self-care from work, you need a pause. Self-care from church, you need a pause. If you're going. And other life commitments, just balancing time to make sure you make time for people that love on you.
For sure.
So I got another question for you. How do you feel churches can better support, develop, and empower women that feel called or are called or currently in ministry?
I think being in community, because I think this is one of the ways that people can see your giftings and see might be calling you. So if you are involved, if you're, whether it's in a small group, whether it's coming to serve on Sunday, whatever it is, as those who are leaders, be, hey, I see you, sis. Like I see you serving. Like I back here with the kids, just serving, and you may not get any Sundays off because there's nobody else to serve back here, right? And there are some women who have been in a leadership position, have been doing that, but everybody needs, but especially may not know or may not recognize, because sometimes people don't know what to look for, especially if they're new to faith. They may not recognize doing in their life. So having something like, I see this. Oh, I love that. Oh, you know what the Lord might, like, what do you think about that? Just opening up those conversations is so encouraging, because it allows them to know that they are seen, that they're hidden in a bad way. You know what I mean? Cared for, that they're mentioned to. And even if this season is not the season for the table, Lord, it prepares, as the Lord prepares you. Sometimes you don't know He's preparing you, but how it's beautiful to see and know in the, like, the Lord is doing that. And I think my pastors do that with me. Like, okay, like we did the level week a few months ago. I can't believe that was only a few months ago. And just being challenged on, like, okay, we got to raise this money, we gotta do this. All right, this is hard, but this is what we got to do. And grow, and then being like, okay, I see the Lord moving in you. I see what the Lord is doing in you, and it helps so much, because some it's hard to recognize what the Lord is doing. Be there to say, to speak into that, and me.
So the next part I'm about to say, I am not. All right, here we go. So the pandemic happened, right? And when the pandemic happened, it caused us to like kind of reduce sometimes interactions with other people, right? Not saying you got to bring it back, because then we got to work it in the schedule. That's a whole different thing, right? But the part that churches do is that part of being intentional with the ministries that we have, right? So I remember years ago, we have department heads, the people that are over ministries. We would come together for our department head meeting, but then we also do like a training just to make sure everybody's staying on a game things, so knowing different resources and different things of the sort. I thought that was so dope, because they were pouring back into the leaders to make sure they have what they needed, right? So now you get it from a Sunday morning, you get it from a Bible study, but it's those parts of being intentional about giving that support, intentional about that development, because we're always growing. So like when your women's ministry is having an event, going to that breakfast, going to that conference. Shout out to Women of Purpose. We got an event this Friday. Tell me the oil still flows, you know. If I had the flyer, I'll post it up there. Actually, I'll try to see if I can find it. But you know, different things of that sort, because then you get poured back into as you give out. And that's a sacred spot for the ladies to come to. The guys had something this weekend because it was Father's Day weekend, but they also have sacred moments where it's just the brothers that come together. The challenge is, and I know it's for my ladies in ministry, but it's also men. Y'all don't always go. And these are free events sometimes for you to go, to get poured into, to be empowered, to be strengthened, to get support. And y'all don't go. Y'all go where y'all want to go, but y'all don't go to the ones that's like specific for you. And I'd be confused. I put on my soapbox because I remember I went to a conference and I was just reflecting of how people say, you know, what is my purpose? What is it for me to do? And then you'll be scrolling. You'll say, find out what you're called to do. Free conference at such and such this date. You ain't got nothing going on that day. They said it was free. You didn't have to pay for it. And what you do? Have right on scrolling. How that work?
Yeah.
You can't say you want something and then it comes to you, then you don't do it. Because God's like, well, I provided a way for you to learn and you paid it no mind, right? So friends, I do encourage you to take a moment to really seek out opportunities where you can invest in yourself, to be supported, to be developed, to be empowered, because we don't know it all. I love going to women's events that's not in my church because I don't have to do nothing. Now, let me take that back, because the last one I went to, I still was helping clean up or doing something, because I just always got to find something in my hands to do, right? But the premise, though, is that I go so I can get poured into. And you have to do those things. You have to set aside time to go where you can get poured into. Even the ones that you do go to. I love this ministry. Like, you know, we got some amazing cooks on the ministry, right? But sometimes she has it where they're not the cooks, so they can also be a part. And that's that part where they're being supported, they're being developed, they're being empowered. I mean, they love to cook, but we also want them to get like what they need too. And I think as we continue to do that, that is amazing. But again, y'all got to go to the events when they have them, because they're trying to help us out. But y'all show up and then they be saying amen to chairs because everybody didn't come out. They set out all these chairs and they didn't show up.
And there ain't nobody there. I think it's humbling also to come to certain spaces. Could be discomfort. I think that happens to a lot of us. And then some people are like, well, I don't need to go there, or I won't do that. Only this amount of people gonna be there, or it's not this. If you are in a church, like, the Lord is purposeful in everything that he does. And he provides healing in spaces that we might least expect it. And also delightful. Like even Naaman in the Bible, when he wanted to get healed, he went to the prophet and he was like, I'm here, come heal me. And he was upset because he had to go wash in the river of Jordan. And he was like, why would you send me there to go get healed? And that's our pride. That's our pride, being like, well, I don't need to do this. Well, why would the Lord send? The Lord can heal you. The goal is for us to surrender. And I even think in a coach and being like, okay, Lord, if there's something in me you want to grow, right? I need to be able to go to the place where growing happens. There's learning happening. I invest in myself. Like even as I was learning to be a coach, as I'm learning to pour into others, just getting that education. Just because I've been a leader before doesn't mean that I don't still need more education. I have a coach. I have mentors that I look to. It's important to pour into yourself so that you can pour into others. And that's the whole thing. Like, I can only do so much by myself, right? I need other people to do it with, right? If something in you, you got to pour it out somewhere. And hopefully you pouring out and you pouring out where it's supposed to be poured out.
Hopefully, right? And that's the thing. So friends, if y'all got some empowerment events coming up, wherever you are, please, send it to me so I can share. Swagger did an amazing event the weekend of Juneteenth. And I was like, when's it going on tour? They was like, oh, it's not that kind of event. I was like, oh, okay, it's not in my area, but those are the things you want to be a part of, where you can have that moment to be present in a space where you can get empowered by other people. People could pour into you, give you some love, give you some encouragement. And it's not always, it's always saying ministry. Sometimes it's just the practical life stuff. You get into the conversation and they're like, oh, my sisters, my ladies, they be going through their little flashes and things. It's like, oh, you having your shit? I'm like, I really ask God to let that pass me by in the menopause situations, right? Let that pass me by, Jesus. But you get encouragement or like those share like different tips and things of that sort. It's those simple things too that you need support with. Like you're reading your Bible, you praying, you got those things out of the park. But it's those practical life skills that you need that you can get from these women, coming together, having these events. It was another program that I connected with through Swagger. They did like a sale, so it was supporting women who had stillborn, children, things that sort. So you need that. It's so many different things. When you're trying to balance like being called to lead and be over something, you need those people to like talk about the human me, the human side that's upset because I lost my baby, or this part because I'm going through depression, or this part because I done gave all that I had to give and I have nothing else. And these are the events that you want to like, go to. I know it's not always fun. I know it's going to hurt our feelings a little bit, but guess what? It's also going to build us up. So, friends, any events y'all got coming up that are women related, men related, let me know so I can share it. Because we want to be able to empower ourselves. We're talking about how to balance it out, being intentional about scheduling time to get poured back into, being intentional about having some time to develop, to be empowered, that wellness piece of taking a pause if needed, taking off a day if needed, going on vacation. I said, you know what, Jennifer, I think I want to go on a cruise by myself this year, right? So my plan is before the end of the year, I'm going on a trip by myself, I just go by myself. One, I got to get off the boat because the boat keeps me very happy. But I said, you want to be able to empower and build and strengthen yourself, support yourself, do some stuff that bring you joy. Okay. So yes, Amsterdam. Thank you. She's an outside mentor and grief advocate event. She does some amazing things. And sometimes we don't talk about our stuff because we get into the mind of just trying to survive life. Yes, thank you so much, Fact. I love y'all. Stillborn and infant loss support, because people are going through that and don't talk about it. Or especially in the church. They have abortion and can't talk about it because people are like, things of that sort, or they lost that baby and don't always feel like they have that support to talk about it. But there are some organizations that are geared towards that, and we got to be able to connect with those services because they're there to help us to continue to balance this thing. How you leading and you still going through about your stillborn, you're showing up, but you're still torn to pieces and depressed, right? That's that part of balancing it out, getting the things that you need so that you can be present for the people that are looking up and looking out for you.
Yes, so good. So good. And that just important as it is to be a follower before you're a leader, you also it is to those that you're leading. Like but also then you're like, man, I need to be a follower today. Because I
Yes.
right or I need
Yes.
somebody. Hey, that community is so important. It's so
Yes, so important. We gotta connect, friends. We gotta connect, because that's what they're there for. Which has been a dope thing about with Swagger too. Like they're about sharing community voices and like check out their website, y'all. They do some amazing things, but also staying connected to the community to give back to the community, and that's so amazing. With the founder Francesca, I'm saying Francesca Felder. I'm saying Francesca because I've been watching Jamie Foxx, but I feel like I'm saying it wrong. But nevertheless, it's fancy, fancy, and she's just doing some amazing things. And again, this is how you stay connected. Leadership, seeing how she has, pushed the magazine and has been in business for years. That's another part too of mentorship. Finding people that can mentor you. How has that process been for you?
I mean, I always got people that's mentoring me,
Yeah.
both in women, like those I can look to.
Mm-hmm.
I remember very vividly my pastor being like, okay, like I want to hear more from you. Like you don't ask a lot of questions. And I'm like, dang, that's because I'm always overthinking something. So now I'm practicing like, okay, let me ask the question. Even if I feel dumb for asking, let me still ask. Let me be curious. And I think even as a coach, like we're always asking questions and curious about stuff. I need to be curious, even being curious about the things you think you know. Because again,
Yes.
it's like life is like taking a test and the thing
Mm-hmm.
think you know, you don't rehearse, right? And the things you don't know, you rehearse. You get those right, but then you forget, like, oh, I wasn't nice today, but I thought I was a nice person. But I
Mm-hmm.
for that I have a full breadth of people that I can pull from, that I can learn from.
Yes.
Just pulling from others because there's nothing new under the sun. Just
Nothing new.
There's nothing new under the sun. It might be packaged differently, but there's a lot of the same things, and you want to be aware. And there are people who have more wisdom than you to learn from, and you can
Mhm.
pull.
Yes. So I got a couple more questions for us. These are, we're gonna rock out with them. What is one message you would like every woman that's serving in ministry leadership to hear and embrace?
One message. I would say the Lord sees you. The Lord sees you and he cares. That can sound cliche, but those very things are the things we struggle with in the hardest days.
Mhm.
Things are really hard, the times when we don't know if we can make it. And it's like, man, who cares? Who sees me? Who has my back? The Lord has your back, and the Lord cares and he sees you. Just like the Lord's opinion of what you do should be the most important thing, just like the Lord giving you godly confidence is the most important thing. That same thing needs to be plugged in when you are feeling weary, right? The Lord cares and he will care same way. Those who might be walking beside you might way in one season and they might look at you differently in another. They might become a leader and they may not like it because you're taking authority and you're walking in what the Lord has called you to do. But sometimes things have to shift and that's okay. And it's not that you don't love them anymore.
Yeah.
Either if you love me, feed my sheep. And some
Mhm.
have to walk away from certain things or step away so that you can fully pursue what the Lord is calling you to do. The Lord sees you. The Lord sees you and is faithful.
That's good. Now I probably should have asked this question before that one, but we can flip flop and it still works. Um, because even in being seen, sometimes you still consider stepping away sometimes. So in the moments where you have considered stepping away, what kept you going? What caused you to say maybe not? Or maybe you did step away and then came back, how's that process went for you?
Ooh, there's stepping away you can do, right? You can quiet quit, I think
Mhm.
quiet quit because it's like you here, but you're not here. And I
Mm.
tell you what's happening because you be like, I'm here, I'm showing up, I'm doing this, but it's like, but checked out, or you can completely walk away. I think for me, again, going back to, all right, one, like sometimes I do an evaluation. What's happening in the season? I'm tired. I feel burnt out. I may not feel supported. Whatever the thing might be, you want to be honest with yourself. You got to be
You
honest,
be honest with yourself.
right? And then you want to evaluate those feelings, right? All feelings aren't fact. All feelings aren't fact. They're branches on a tree, and you got to figure out where the root is.
Yeah.
So, of this feeling is something that is a root of bitterness. Like you got to
Mhm.
all I'm saying is you have to examine what feelings are coming up and where it's coming from. And
Mhm.
9 and that'll show you if this is something that the Lord is telling you to move from or move towards, because you don't want to quit prematurely, and you also don't want to stay somewhere longer than what the Lord has for you. So had to be like, all right, Lord, I think I got a little bad attitude. Like, help me with my attitude, right? Help me get this right, and then He'll adjust, tell me some things I need to do. And then there's been times where like, actually, it's time to go.
Uh-huh.
It's time to go. He started to dry stuff up, and I was like, "Okay, Lord, I'm gonna lean into you. I'm gonna lean into you because sometimes He don't tell you where you're going. He just says it's time. It's time to pack."
Mhm.
And as I started packing up my stuff, the Lord started to show me what was next. In His
Mhm.
grace, I
Mhm.
have to- all I need to do is obey His voice.
So good. That part about prematurely leaving, right? Friends, I don't want you to prematurely leave anything because when you prematurely leave it, that means we're not mature and we got to go through it again.
Mm,
And that's not always a good experience. So
nah,
please don't leave if you ain't supposed to leave. All right. Um, that part is staying longer, because staying longer sometimes means that you were told to leave or you felt like it was time for you to leave, but you were scared because you felt like maybe I am prematurely leaving, or maybe this isn't the time, or what am I going to do next, and things of that sort. But the hard part about the staying longer is that something will often happen to really cause you to leave it, and you wish you would have left when you felt like you first should have left. And I don't want that to happen to you either, where you feeling heartbroken, because he had to rip that band-aid because you wasn't moving quick enough for, when he
yeah,
wanted you to move. I'll never forget when I moved back to Philadelphia, I had applied for several jobs. It was taking me a second to get one, and I think I was supposed to be rushed. I didn't understand it at the time until later. But then I got 3 offers, and one I turned down. Well, I turned down 2 and took one. And I always joke, but I really mean this. I felt like I got hazed for the month that I was there. It was unorganized. It was a great opportunity to be able to help young people. It was in a field that I had, done things or whatever like that. But it was just so many pieces that was saying, this ain't it. This ain't it, right? And on the calendar, I have wrote LD. And it was like, is that going to be your last day? It was on a Thursday. It was a Thursday that I wrote LD. Weeks before this LD had shown up, right? Me not even knowing what I was writing either. But they was like, that's going to be your last day. And I was like, I guess it didn't even click. That's how out of it I was. Or like, I can't be here anymore, right? And on that Thursday, ironically, I went back to one of the other locations that wanted to hire me. And I said, hey, my name is Jennifer Harris. I don't know if you remember me. I want to know if that position is still available. They was like, it actually is. When you start Monday. And I went back to the job to let them know that actually Thursday turned out to be my last day. And that Friday, I had off, and then that Monday I started the new job. So when I'm saying of like not staying longer than need be, had I stayed longer, I would have been more messed up because I was frustrated, irritated, bothered.
Yes.
That just wasn't giving me what you have to give me a paycheck. And I wasn't working for the couple months since I had been back. But it's a lot of things more worth that paycheck, that sanity and things of that sort. So being able to know when the time is up for you to go and going and going. Now, sometimes we have left where we thought it was time, but we kind of like ran that yellow light or ran that red light and it wasn't fully green. And, God worked out the kinks on the back end. But friends, I do want to encourage you with stepping away. That quiet quit is crazy too. Where you didn't quit, but you ain't doing nothing is real. So all those pieces of like stepping away and figuring out what it is when you should leave, really having some moments with yourself. Because I even reflected, I was like, God, did I really consult you as much as I could have before I even accepted that job? Because then I would have been hazed for a month if I did it, right? But I felt like it was a great opportunity. It was something I wanted to do. Both of them worked out perfectly. Not perfectly. That one didn't work out because I left it. But then when I went to the other one, it worked out perfectly. One, we had summers off. I missed the summers off, but then also I was pursuing my master's, and the schedule that I had worked perfectly for me to pursue my master's. I wouldn't have had that with the other position. So sometimes we're thinking that, it's not working out as it should because, again, God sees further down the line. So making sure that we are consulting him if we are trying to quit something, if we are trying to step away. And that step away is good sometimes. You have to take off. You can't continue to do something every day, even exercising. They don't recommend that you do the same thing. Well, I'm not I'm not a trainer, right? But there's something that you're not supposed to do like every day per se. A little bit, but not too much because it could wear on your muscles. You got to have a rest day, right? So that's what I'm saying. You got to have a rest day. You got to find out when's appropriate for you to have a rest because you work the muscles too much. You might lose something, hurt something, all those different things, and we don't want that to happen. So yes. Go. Oh, all right. My last question. I knew that's going to happen. Okay. How do you distinguish between God's calling and people's expectations?
Oh, this is so good. I spent a lot of time thinking about this. I think when the Lord is calling me to something and I say yes to his calling, there is a relief. There is a relief because I'm like, I'm in the Lord's will. It doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean with sacrifice or conflict or hurt, but there is a relief because I said yes. When I say yes to man out of pressure, there is expectation that I got to keep it together. Then that means that now I have to show up. I'm the one in power. That's the thing that's keeping things going. That was what happened with Saul. He didn't surrender to the Lord, but he surrendered to people's voice, and they were the ones bigging him up, right? Because he didn't have the confidence in the Lord, and now they hit the voice of the people had to keep him going. So if you are surrendering to people, you'll feel that tightness and of that just thinking and feeling like, all right, I have to keep this engine moving. But when you're surrendering to Christ, the Lord will keep the engine going. It doesn't mean sometimes you might not try to take over, but when you surrender to the Lord, he's like, I got this. And you're like, okay, I don't have to be in the driver's seat. So I've learned that a lot. Man.
Oh, when surrender to the Lord. When you tell the Lord yes, peace can come. That peace ain't there, that ain't what you want. Friends, that ain't what you want. Find the peace. Gravitate to the peace. Hold on to the peace. Embrace the peace.
Yes.
That's good. That's good. This is good, Jenay. What's something you want us to walk away with?
Oh, I would say, one, I want to encourage the women who believe that the Lord has put ministry leadership on your heart. I think those of us who are believers, the Lord has some type of leadership for you. Some type of leadership for you. We don't always know what it is, but to really invest in yourself, to really take the time to ask the Lord what He wants to grow in you. I know I've had to ask myself the same questions, and something that's been heavy on my heart and what I really love and care about is seeing women grow and seeing women step into what the Lord has called them to do. Like, I'm always like excited. You can ask any of my friends, any ideas that they have, anything that they do. I'm like, yeah, like, let's go. What we got to doing, and they get upset because I'm like, oh my gosh, Jenay, like, no, we're not doing that, or we're not starting that right now. And I'm like, well, why not? Like, and they be like, well, I'm afraid. I'm like, what we afraid of? Like, we don't have to lean into fear. Fear comes, but we don't have to lean into it. And I think that's really why I started taking coaching seriously, leadership coaching, and that's why I'm even doing this in the first place. I had to surrender and say yes to the Lord. So now I help women in ministry leadership lead with confidence, right? Getting over self doubt, getting over that voice in our minds that tells us, well, you're not good enough or you shouldn't do it. And it comes up differently in different seasons. When you first start leadership, it might come in one form, but then you might be serving for a while and then it'll come up again if you reach a new bridge or something that you have to get over. But the Lord wants to walk with you. And hopefully y'all can go to my website. It's janaysmith.com. Also sign up for my free ministry devotional. It's called Unseen Protection, Trusting God and Ministry Leadership. And it's leadership. Subscribe to my website. You get that in your inbox. Walk through it. Take your time. Shed some tears. Pray. Whatever you got to do. Okay, and let me know how you like it. And definitely follow me at Coach Jenay on Instagram.
Yes, I love it. Friends, always a good time. Always a good time. I'll make sure that I share those links and about your devotional as well. And again, you need someone to talk to, go ahead, Coach Jenay, process some things as you're trying to navigate the next leg of the year, right? We're about to be at the halfway mark of 2026. I know you made some plans in January. It is now June, about to be July in a couple more moments, right? So making sure that you're navigating and doing those things that help you to be who you are, helping you to be the leader that you are. Okay, friends? Thanks so much, Jenay. I appreciate you for joining us tonight.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. I always enjoy our conversations.
Same. Until next time, I'll say.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed the amazing Coach Jenay. We had such a good time on tonight. Such a good time. Oh, friends. Don't forget our quote of the day. As you know, we had 2 quotes of the day. It looks like, okay, here we go. First quote was, find out who you are and do it on purpose. Dolly Parton. Again, find out who you are and do it on purpose. Our next quote was, like the light. Leadership is influence. Again, leadership is influence. If you're a leader, what influence are you leaving on the people around you? Okay. As always, we want to say thank you to our sponsors, Swag Her Magazine. They have a Swag Her Spotlight bundle going on where bold moves need bigger buzz. Okay. Get seen, get heard, get featured. The Swag Her Spotlight bundle gives you 2 powerful visibility moments in one. Alive. Okay. So again, friends, head on over. Let me put that link up for you because you go to Swag Her PR. Here we go. SwagHerPR.com. You're going to be met by some amazing people on the team. They're going to support you with helping you to advertise who you are, okay? Because the leader in you, people need to know about their leader, what services you offer, and how to connect for more, okay? Here at Chosen Counselors, again, we do have some new merch items that I'm excited to share with you. We have our we have our capacity hat. More than just a stylish accessory, it carries an important reminder. Know your limits and communicate them, okay? Because in being a leader, you got to know when you're able to and when you're not able to do some things, all right? We also have our normalized therapy hat. Normalized therapy tee. On the front, it says normalized therapy. On the back, it says seeking support is a sign of strength, not weakness. Again, seeking support is a sign of strength, not weakness. So head on over to our website at chosencounselors.com to get yours today. Again, I do hope that you enjoyed us on tonight. We will be back in July. Enjoy your Mondays while we're not here. But again, always stay tapped into what Swag Her is doing and to what Chosen is doing, as we're always trying to support the community. Help you be seen, help you be known, help you be heard. All right. I love you all for real. Until next time. Good night.
Thanks for joining Jen Cares this week. Special thanks to our sponsors, Swag Her Magazine and Chosen Counselors, guests, and viewers. Such a good conversation. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you found value in today's show, we'd appreciate your sharing it with a friend and dropping a comment down below. Until next time.